Okay, I am going to go over starters. The reason being is I recently had a class and I ran into someone who said she followed instructions, and I got concerned because she started talking about a tablespoon. And then I figured out she meant this. I had given her dry starter. What she did was went home from my class and started the emergency dry starter. So for whatever reason, she got rid of her active starter. So, to clarify, because everyone keeps asking me, when can you bake? Well, I fed my starter, now what? When, how long, how long? It all depends. And there's no magic formula because it depends on where you live. I live in Florida. It's humid right now. So I want to show you what my unfed starter looks like. So let's see if you can get that. That was last fed, I think about like 6 o'clock last night, and smells delicious. And it's very thick, but it's hungry. It needs to be fed. Now, while I'm talking about that, this is one way where I put a little loose plastic bag on. I get these at the Dollar Tree. They come in, I think it's like a 16 pack, but there's only like 4 little ones, medium. I love them. Anyway, then I have another starter here, and this was like my discard. These little things I like too, but they get crunchy, but good breathable. Now this one, look how liquidy is. That's the perfect starter discard for crackers. Someone else today said I made crackers from the discard. Looks good. Both are hungry. Now I have another one. This is cold. And this one, yes, this jar is dirty. I know a lot of you don't like to see that. If you don't want to do work and always want a clean jar, I'm going to go over that too, because this empty jar I'm going to give to that friend right now. So this smells delicious, also cold because it just came from my fridge, but no bubbles. At least I don't think there is. No bubbles. Okay. This is a discard basically that I keep just for when I need to feed something new. And that's what I'm going to do with this empty jar, where I'm going to feed this empty jar so I can go give it to someone. Now this jar, I'm purposely doing this because I'm going away next week and my starter's going to come with me. Bunny. My starter's name is Bunny. So I'm going to go to Pittsburgh to go see my grandkids. And normally when I teach classes, I bring this along, but I can't bring this. Well, I could, but I don't want to. Look at that. Look at that hooch. That is not horrible. I probably will dump it today because it's about time. Anyway, I would just dump that grayish start. Some people do stir it in there. And I would just keep a little bit of it, maybe about 30, 40 grams of regular starter, feed it, and then put it back in my refrigerator if I'm not going to use it, which I'm not because I have so many other ones. So, but let's say you're someone new to sourdough. You come to one of my classes, or you just started and you have your sourdough and now started and you don't know what to do with it. I'm done. You baked it. Now what? You only bring it out of the refrigerator if you're going to bake, and you only feed it when you're going to bake, unless of course you want to keep it like this and every once in a while you want to feed it and put it back in the refrigerator. But the idea of feeding it means just that flour and water, flour and water. So this flour and water, that's all this starter was. It just depends on when you fed it and how much you fed it. So because I know that my friend wants to bake with this soon, I'm going to give her not a normal 1-to-1-to-1 ratio. That means 1 part starter, 1 part all-purpose flour. Always make sure it's unbleached. And then 1 part filtered water. I'm going to make it a little bit more active. Now, I know she's not going to want to keep this jar and it's going to get bigger. She's going to probably dump it in her larger jar. So if you want to be that person who likes to have your jar always clean, fine. Just put your starter in another container like this. So I'm going to turn my scale on and zero that out. So this is 0. So I can give her any of these starters, but because I know this sat at the counter and it's the most active, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to start with probably, let's just guess here. So It's almost 30 grams. So what I'm doing, 30 grams of starter. Okay. So if I would want her to have this, a lot of this to grow fast, I'm going to give it a 1 to 3 to 3. That means 1 part starter to 3 parts flour and 3 parts water. Now, the reason being, it's going to become a lot more active. It's also going to take a little bit more time to raise. So if I were to do 1 to 1 to 1, 1 flour, 1 starter, 1 water, it's going to get pretty active fast, but then it's going to go down fast. So when you have, let's say this was new starter, you can't really see through the jar. Say that was the amount of new starter there, and you fed it a 1 to 1 to 1, and say it got up to be here, doubled. It's going to do that quickly, especially in Florida when it's warm. So the problem is then it's going to go right back down. And that's what I think people don't understand. When you feed it, it'll grow. But if you're not going to use it, it's going right back down. So as long as you use it before it's peaking, the peaking starter, or I'm sorry, right around peak or close to it, and it can go down a little bit, but you don't want to go when it's clear back down to here. So now I'm going to make sure, okay, that's 0 out. So what did I say, 30? So I'm going to put in here all-purpose flour, and I like to use King Arthur. There's 25, 50. All right, so I'm going to try to make it 90. Okay, so 90 grams of flour and water. Okay, so now zero that out. And this is just filtered water. I just always keep it in my teapot. And I'm going to go 90. Sometimes you could even do a little less. That makes it a little thicker. And this is at 88. That's my favorite number, so I'm going to go with that. So I am just going to stir this, okay? So I'll put a rubber band on it for her so that she knows. But look at it. I'm going to go more. It is, I am incorporating the bottom of that starter with all that flour. You're feeding it, nothing else. No salt. Some people ask me about salt. The salt doesn't go in here. Now, if I wanted to make it get a little bit more active, I could even put a little bit of maybe whole wheat or rye, but she just lives right around the corner from me. So I'm going to stir that up really nice. I like a wooden spoon just because it's hard. Now, I stirred that up. Also, I'm going to tell her when she gets this, because she's someone who needs specific instructions, what to do with this. So, also, I always wipe this off with a paper towel because you don't want that gunk on your in your garbage disposal. So, let's see what we got here. So there, see how thick it is? It's like a really thick batter, okay? Now, it's not bubbly because it's not active. Putting the lid on. Normally, I would not put a tight lid on. I'd put something loose like this. You know what? No, she can do it. I literally live right around. But I would then put this on the counter and then let it rise, okay? So the longer you let it rise with the more flour and water, it's going to get larger, okay? So, and then it'll go right back down. Don't forget, you have a window of time that you can use it when it's bubbly. So the important thing is always remember timing when you're going to mix, when you'll have time for the bulk fermentation, and then when you stick it in your refrigerator for the overnight, then you can bake the next day. So it's always about timing. So let's say you want to bake in the morning. Then right before you go to bed, feed that starter and feed it healthy. So like I said, if you're one that wants a clean jar, just take your starter from the refrigerator, I like to bring it to room temperature, feed it, and maybe a 1 to 4 to 4. You're going to have a good 10 hours with that to work with it. Or maybe even 1 to 3 to 3 like I did. And you're going to see a lot of bubbly action. So hope this helps. Happy bacon from Sourdough Barbie.